Yeah, this is exciting.
Good day, everybody. Welcome to Dental Voice, Season 2 with Zyris. My name is Rolando Mia, and we have a returning guest. So, before we get to her, Dental Voice is about hearing from clinicians, hearing from people in our industry and understanding the experiences that they're having, what they're going through, and then also getting advice. Today, we have Sarah Lawrence, RDH, whom we spoke to, it feels like a bazillion years ago. And I'm so thrilled that you're willing to come back and spend some time with us and everything. How, 4, 5, several months later, how are you doing, Sarah?
I am doing wonderful. I want to thank you for letting me come back on again. We had a great time last time, and I feel like a new person since we were together last time. So thank you for having me
Oh,
here, and I'm excited to get a chance to talk to you again.
thank you for that, and so awesome. When we spoke last time, it was effectively the beginning of COVID. So
Mhm.
many things were going on, and your life had changed dramatically because your office had shut down, and then you discovered that you weren't going to be coming back. So, what's happened since then, and how is things?
Yeah, so I went through a period of mourning, which I think is normal. I think it was something that was pretty tragic to me, being there for a long time and finding out that I no longer had a position. So I had to be flexible and just kind of ride the waves of COVID-19 and sort of release the control, which I falsely thought that I had on my life, and just embrace what the world had coming to me. So, and that hasn't, I don't have all the answers. I don't know where I'm headed, but I definitely am enjoying the journey. I'm learning to trust my intuition, to surround myself with the people whom I respect and that are positive in my life and that are progressive and looking to do good in this world. And by doing all of those things, just learning to let go of the control has been probably the biggest lesson that I've had. So it's it's more than just about dentistry. It's something that we can carry through our lives, in or outside, whatever profession we're in. It's something that we can carry with us in our lives.
That's so cool because, I mean, COVID was such a smack in the face of not just basically everybody. You'd mentioned because at the time we knew so little about it, and there was so much speculation. But something that struck me, and I don't, it made me smile, is you said you were excited about COVID. Are you still excited about COVID?
I am, in a way. I think it's opened up so many things that we thought we knew before.
Mm.
It's given us so many opportunities to learn and to grow as a profession, as a person, to sort of pick those skills that we never knew we had, like digital communication or social media. The things that we didn't feel comfortable doing, but now that's our world. So, I mean, obviously, I don't like that anybody's gotten ill or that there's the fear in this. But I think it's exposed so many things that we have the potential to change and to make better in this world. So, yeah, COVID, I don't love it, but we have to make the best out of it and learn from it. That's the biggest thing. Use this as a learning opportunity, which I think so many people have, is the best thing that we can do.
I love the sentiment. Several of our other guests had mentioned that COVID has given us kind of a little push to do things that we otherwise wouldn't have and kind of overcome things. And I really appreciate that. At the time, you had, because of everything and all the uncertainty, you had started a Facebook group. Are you still communicating? Are you still engaging with those folks? And are you still receiving feedback and talking to them?
Yeah, it's grown. It's been active. There has been a little bit of a drop off, since new information hasn't come out. But it's been exciting. I'm working with some other people in the industry. We've kind of come together to co-create a platform where we can put our groups together, put our minds together, and people in the industry just have a conversation in the digital world that opens up so many avenues of potential conversations that we're not currently having because we don't have the platform or we don't know how to do it. So I'm really excited that this group was started And like I said, I've sort of merged with some other people. That's given us a safe place online in the digital world to talk about safety, to talk about change, to have meaningful, constructive conversations in a place where we're not we're not going to fear that we have to be retaliated against. Because I am getting those messages daily. I feel like the guidelines still are a little fuzzy for people about what to do or when it's safe to see somebody. So part of this coalition has put together some safety training courses that are free for people, and they can just take those safety courses and feel like they have the basic fundamental knowledge to have discussions about this virus. And it's given people the ability to have that baseline education that we need to have before we can have a conversation.
Wow, that's so you're talking about the kind of the hierarchy of controls and chain
Yeah.
of infection and modes of transmission and educating around that. Is that kind of the context of that?
Yeah, exactly. We're just it's a free safety course, just a basic fundamental like transmission, incubation period and things like that about just the science, because there's a lot of gray area in the COVID world, but we're focusing on the facts, like the basic, the basic knowledge, the basic scientific facts that we can all agree on. And then we can have those conversations that are meaningful, that can lead to change. But until we're on the same education level with the virus, we really can't have those conversations. And so we're trying to fill the gap in with those resources so we can have constructive conversations and go from there.
That is so cool. We recently had Michelle Strange on, and she confessed. She said she felt that less than half, maybe, people really understand. So having a resource to provide people with that context, I think, is huge. And
Yeah.
like anything, when you understand, it's not so scary anymore, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we're hoping to give to people, that understanding, to have those conversations.
Oh, how cool. Now, last time, and I'm curious to see how this has evolved, you'd mentioned people needed the courage or the confidence to have direct discussions with their dentists, with their owners, with their teams. And there was definitely what I'm going to call a lot of anxiety with regard to that because of at the time, everything was about how dangerous COVID was going to be in dentistry. What has evolved with regard to that, or how is that going? Helping people navigate that discussion and giving them the talking point or courage to do that.
Yeah. So I think it's another one of those gray areas. Some people feel a little bit more fearful than others. We need to do what is recommended for safety-wise, for the safety of our patients. And so I don't want to, say that you go, even if you don't believe in it, that you go against it, the safety measures. So, but when it comes to communicating with other people, your colleagues, your employer, having that confidence, I think going in there with the knowledge just of the virus and how it works, and talking about, real life examples of how you're worried about transmission happening, or what are the real things that you can do for infection control, that, go in with your questions and your concerns, and have a way to have some solutions for those things, because your employer doesn't, I think I mentioned this last time, your employer doesn't always know the answers. They're probably overwhelmed too. But just knowing that you're on their side, you're there to help too, and just have a conversation and just have that confidence within you to know, like, hey, I'm educated, I'm a healthcare provider, I know the science behind this, I'm up to date on the safety protocols, and I have a concern, and this is valid. And having that conversation, it might be scary, but you're not going to move forward. You're not going to feel safe going to work. You're not going to feel comfortable if you can't be true to yourself and stick up for what you believe to be, right or wrong in the situation.
Yeah, that's so cool. There's been so much talk about, I'm not there. Well, let me just frame it so that it's not so biased. There are some practices where the dentists, hygienists, and the team have a really good relationship and they're thriving. There are, however, we've heard situations where there isn't that same, there's friction. And because of that, it's causing a lot of issues. And love the fact that you have, or people have, an opportunity to go somewhere to get support, to get advice and express it. So well done there. That's cool.
And I think this is a great time for you to to determine, does the office that you work for, are you guys a good match in more than just one way? Like, do you guys have the same beliefs? Are you on the same page? You know, because that was something that it was exposing some of the differences from previous, you know, my place of employment. We just weren't on the same page, and that's not right or wrong. It's just how it is. And so this has never come up before. And so, you know, you have different anxieties and fear levels, and not one is not right and one is not wrong. It's just, how do we see the world, and how do we have a plan to feel safe again? And so it's a kind of a hard thing for people that have worked for somebody for so long. It's sort of like, oh, like, I'm exposing these feelings that I never knew I had, because we've never had a pandemic like this, you know? And so that's kind of a weird feeling too. Like, we've never disagreed before. Like, we've always been on the same page, and I'm loyal. And now it's like we are way on opposite ends. And so, you know, it's definitely something that you got to think about.
That's so cool. And yeah, again, it ties back to COVID's exciting. It's forcing us to address and talk about things that we had. As far as you're concerned, and as far as how you feel, you know, are you coming back to dentistry? What are your thoughts on that? By the way, is there life after dentistry? Let me ask that question.
Absolutely. There is life after dentistry. And what is so cool about dentistry, one of the reasons that I went into it was because it was so flexible. Like, you could do so many different things. You don't have to be a clinician. You can be an advocate. You can be an educator. You can do so many things, marketing, whatever. So my heart is in dentistry. I don't know what the role will be for me. I've been trying to explore different avenues, and I've really found that what really lights me on fire is advocacy for various different things, and education. Like, I want to advocate for safety and education. I want parents to be empowered with knowledge. That is really big for me. And I don't know what that means for dentistry. I mean, dentistry is where my heart has been, but you know, I've been finding myself thinking less and less about the clinical side of dentistry over the last couple months. And it's kind of exciting to explore this new side of my life. You know, it's different. So I'm, you know, if 2020 has taught me anything, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to predict what's going to happen. I have no idea. But I can tell you that these last 6 months I've been presented with so many growth opportunities, so many struggles that I thought were struggles at the time. And they were hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, I cried a lot of tears. It was hard. I mean, there were a lot of valleys for me. But surrounding yourself with the people in your life that are willing to hold your hand and to take you out of those valleys, and to understand that you're not a bad person. There's nothing wrong with you. You know, you're going through some things that are hard, that are deep. And just being okay, like giving yourself grace. I know I said that last time, but that still holds so true to me. Being true to yourself, giving yourself grace. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be okay. And you know what? It might even be better than it was before you went into this period. So I'm excited for the potential, the opportunities that are in store for me. Every time I think that life is amazing, something else happens, and I'm like, oh, great! It's like even better. So I'm not going to underestimate, you know, what God can do in my life and what is presented to me. So I'm just going to keep an open mind and keep doing what I feel is right for me and being true to myself. And I feel like the right people will come into my life and it'll work out.
That is so cool. I love the fact that, I love the fact that you don't know what's happening and you don't know where you're going, but you're not stuck doing nothing because you don't know. You continue to do, and you continue to explore, and you continue to kind of, own that. And you mentioned earlier, you know, you like to control things, but you're recognizing it's about managing them as opposed to truly controlling.
Yes.
What advice, you know, having gone through that journey, having had the kind of, like you said, the peaks and the valleys, what advice would you give other clinicians? I mean, hygienists, definitely, but also dentists, even doctors. What advice would you give them based on that to help them kind of frame how to move forward?
Yeah, I think we have to find joy in our lives. I'm a big advocate for hobbies and doing things even if you don't get paid for them. You do them because you enjoy them. So I if anybody ever comes to me and I'm having conversations with coworkers or anything, and they're talking about how they're kind of feeling down, I'm like, go get a hobby, like learn to crochet. I mean, go paint, do something, because that brings joy in our life. And you and I have had the conversation before, like hobbies teach you so many things. They teach you so many skills, and they give you a creative outlet for whatever. They give you time away in your brain that, to step away from dentistry. So I really think hobbies and doing stuff that you love, like if it's just writing or just 10 minutes, just do something that gets you out of the mindset of dentistry, if that's what you need an escape from, or rules and regulations, policy, whatever whatever's holding you down, get out of that and learn a new skill. Take a course online. There's so many free courses. Just trick your brain into being busy with something that's creative and fun. And that's not going to solve, if you have any mental health issues, that definitely needs to be addressed by a therapist or things like that. And I'm an advocate for that. But you just those normal peaks and valleys, get a hobby, get a new skill, make life exciting again.
No, that's cool, because like you said, when you become stuck and you get mired in the kind of everything that's going on, it becomes really difficult to process. It becomes difficult to kind of navigate through it. And by doing that, it gives you the ability to kind of refocus, and then now you can come back and hit. What do you miss, or do you miss anything about what you used to do in dentistry? You're a myofacial, RDA, all that, therapist and all that. What do you miss, or is there anything?
I want to add one more thing to the last question. One thing I forgot to mention is sometimes in your lowest of your lows, you won't shower during the day. You won't get your hair done. You won't do your makeup, but that's okay. Just every day is a little bit better. So I remember thinking that as I was going through that, like, oh my gosh, I didn't even shower, but that's okay, because the next day I did. But you always brush your teeth, of course. But yeah, just once again, giving yourself grace and just knowing this is a period in time, like, that you're going to get through. But I just remember feeling like so yucky and so like really down, because I just didn't even have the energy, the motivation to do the most basic things. So I just want to put that out there, that I feel like that was a normal thing for me. So I got over that. Okay. So the things that I miss the most. Oh, Rolando, I can't hear you.
Sorry, before you get into that, I just wanted to say thank you for sharing that. And you're right, it can get kind of scary sometimes, because you feel like there's nowhere else to go. And I guess it is normal. And being able to kind of get back up and driving and finding the energy, you get through it. So thank you for sharing that. So now you can share with us. So what do you miss?
What do I miss? I miss communicating with the patients, with the kids. I was in pediatrics, so they say the most amazing things. I love communicating with the parents too. Parents were always so eager to learn, so they were so fun to educate, and to talk about the issues that their children were having. I miss screening for airway issues, swallowing. I miss that part of it. But like I said before, I think my role can still be an educator, can still be, somebody that can make a difference outside of the clinic. So, and I miss my coworkers. I had a great relationship with them. I loved them. It was like, that was really hard to take the friendships away that I developed over a long period of time. You always think, we'll stay in touch, and we do. Sometimes, but it's just not the same when you're not working with them. So I miss my coworkers. I miss the patients. I miss the parents. I miss the challenges. Sometimes it was like, oh, I would be okay if I never clean teeth again, And then, but it's like, oh, I miss those challenges. You have a kid come in and the parents are like, oh, they're not even going to sit down. Like, you're good luck, and I'm like, okay, this is a challenge. Like, I'm up for it. And then they're done. And you're like, they're just so surprised, or you do an injection in the child and they don't even know that you've done it. And that is what I love. I love providing that service to them, to make it enjoyable, to make them not scared. So I do miss feeling like I'm making a difference in the lives of the children on a daily basis. But
Well, based on what you've said about communication and advocacy and making sure that other people, I think you still are making a difference in people's lives because, just simply giving people a platform to go learn, giving people the courage to kind of own things, go do stuff. That's definitely it. So it's funny, you're not doing it, quite frankly, the way you did before, but you're still kind of doing it, which is pretty cool. So let me ask, what's next? I mean, what are you thinking with regard to this? And especially, staying in industry, there are many other things that people can do in dentistry beyond the clinical side of it. What are your thoughts with regard to what's next and how you're thinking
yeah,
about it?
I don't know what's next. And with the control thing, like we were talking about before, I've sort of given up on trying to act like I have control over what happens because I don't. But I know what I feel in my heart. I'm going to continue to do. I'm going to continue to have a platform for people to be able to have discussions, to talk about the things that they're fearful of, or their wins, or the things that they have on their mind. There's always questions, there's always concerns, and people need a safe place to have those conversations or to ask those questions. I mean, on a daily basis, I get private messages from people saying, hey, I don't want to ask this because, somebody today said, don't throw me under the bus for asking this. Well, I'm not, I never would, but they feel like they're on defense. And I want to provide a safe place for people that's inclusive, that's kind, that we have compassion, and we can have conversations that are very difficult. So that social media, that online community is really where my heart is right now. And because without these things, without a safe place, without people that are willing to step on the line and share how they feel, that may go against the grain, we're not going to progress. We're not going to make any difference. So
Yeah.
I feel like facilitating that conversation in an unbiased way is sort of what my role is right now. Just sort of moderating and keeping everybody kind, I guess, and having a safe spot is really where I feel like I'm making the biggest impact right now.
That's so cool. So is this part of that Facebook group? Who's made up of that group? Is it mostly hygienists? Is it dental assistants? Is it who's in there?
Yeah, so the group of the COVID-19 dental discussion, it's probably mainly hygienists, but there are assistants, there are administrative people, there are businesses, there are dentists. There's a little bit of everybody, and that's what the group is made of. So we've tried to provide, a place for everybody. When you have more hygienists that make up the total percentage of the membership, it does look like it's only hygienists, but it's not. It's for everybody.
That's cool. And as far as are there other platforms that you've created, or have you created other ways to engage, or other systems, or?
Yeah. So what I'm really excited about now is careforabettertomorrow.com. And it is a platform, an organization that's co-created. I've helped co-create that along with some other amazing people in the industry. And I'm sure that you have heard their names, but I haven't gotten permission to name them, so I won't. But they are amazing leaders in our industry. And if you go to the careforabettertomorrow.com, you will learn a little bit more about that. But yeah, we've sort of just taken people that have had leadership roles in dentistry and just come together to be co-founders of a great organization where we focus on safety, we focus on authenticity. And I think that is the biggest thing, is we're not coming into the conversation saying that we know everything. Like, we are not having that's not the message that we want. We want to have a place where we say, we don't know probably a fraction of what we should know, or, that we need to know, or that we will know in the future, but we are looking for you, members, to sort of help ask those questions and to build a community, like I said, that's inclusive, that can have those members ask the questions. And we want everybody. We want people, like, even within our co-founding group, we don't have the same views or beliefs on things. And that's amazing. Yeah. And we're navigating this situation. We're we're walking the walk, I guess. We're having these conversations behind the scenes with the co-creators that we're asking people on Facebook or on social media or in the digital platform to have. So we are navigating the same things that everybody else is. But that's something that you don't have to be the most intelligent. You don't have to know the latest information. Like, we want to help. We want to provide those resources to you, and it's always evolving. We don't claim to know everything. So it's really a fun, lighthearted way to have a conversation around such a heavy topic. So
that's so cool. That resonates strongly because very recently we had Dr. Kelly Tanner, PhD, RDH.
mm-hmm.
And one of the contexts she talks about leadership, but also followership. To be a good leader, you have to be able to follow. And it sounds like you're broaching those kinds of discussions. You're driving that kind of messaging and forcing dialogue around it, which is exactly. And the fact that you all don't agree on the same thing, that's awesome. That's
yes. Yeah, we just had a call this morning, and we were just like talking about how our personalities were different and how our beliefs were different. And I'm like, this is great. Like, this is what we need. This is what the world needs. Like, just to have tolerance of other people. And I can learn so much from somebody that doesn't believe what I believe. Doesn't mean I'm going to change my mind, but I can still respect them,
Right.
Like, that's what we need to have. We need to have kindness, and you have to have respect. And I feel like when people have conversations, they feel like just because they're listening to you, like they're giving up what they believe. Like, that's not the case at all. It's actually a gift that you have to be able to listen to somebody. It's something that it's a skill, to be able to listen to them and not get upset or not get defensive and be like, I don't agree, but guess what? We're still friends and I still respect you. What can you learn, or what can I learn from you? And what can you learn from me that can make a bigger picture more well-defined? So that's something that I do not like about COVID. I'm not liking the division that it's caused, and that's a whole nother show. But yeah, we just need to be kind, and we need to have compassion and respect for people, no matter what. We are humans. It's not a political discussion. It's not me against you. It's a human issue. We are humans first and foremost.
And when you look at the kind of the stress or the friction in the dental practice, it's that COVID is bubbling up because all of a sudden now this is real. It's not going away. And before I could deal with it, but now I'm actually, because of the anxiety, it's become a bigger issue. So you're that whole context of be kind, be open, have the courage to speak up. Good job.
And have curiosity. Like, be curious as to why somebody feels the way that they do. Don't make judgments. Don't assume. They may have lived through something in their life that you had no idea. And that might, be the reason why they feel the way that they do. And they just have different perspective. We all have different experiences, and that forms our perception. And just having compassion and kindness towards people is what this world needs.
So that brings me to this. We could sit here again. I enjoy talking to you, and I love the perspective. And you sound great. And I could sense a apprehensiveness several months ago, and it makes me feel good that there's an energy. What message would you want to get to the viewers, the folks? There are a lot of people who are going to watch this over the next several weeks, months, and that. What message closing message would you like to give to them, folks who are going to be listening to this and coming from you?
Man, that's a broad question. I just be open and flexible to what your life can present to you. We think we have it all figured out. I thought I had it figured out. I thought I knew what was going to happen. Life changes. Roll with it. Be flexible. Above all, be kind. No matter what, if you stay in dentistry, you go out of dentistry, kindness is always going to be what needs to be first in your biggest priority. And just enjoy life. That is something that I was missing. I'm trying not to get emotional because I don't want to cry again. But I'll speak for myself. I have missed out on a lot of life in the last 6 months, just worrying and thinking that I needed the answer, or I needed to work to figure something out. And I lost track of what was really important, which is the things in life that, I'm never going to get those 6 months back. I was in a place where I didn't want to leave the house. I was suffering from anxiety and depression. And it was not a good place to be. But thankfully for me, it was temporary. But I don't want to be a spectator of my life anymore. Like, I want to participate. And that participation takes some courage, especially when, like I said, when you don't feel like getting out of bed or you don't feel like getting ready. But having, just being kind, because the people that were so kind to me, the people that reached out and checked on me, like, those are the people that really brought me through that. It's, and it wasn't a bad case of depression, but it was still, I think a lot of us probably, mental health has been on the forefront in conversations for a while because of the restrictions that COVID has put in our lives. And so I know I'm not the only one. I know that there are people that, have these same concerns. But just for me personally, it was just letting go of the controls, letting me realize that, in my situation, I personally believe in God and that He is going to be the one that's going to, I'm just here for the ride, and that's all I can say. So 6 months from now, I have no idea what's going to happen, but, just, I want to live my life. I want to be happy. I want to stop, living in fear all the time. So it doesn't mean the virus isn't real. It doesn't mean that it's not, I know it's a virus that has taken lives, and I don't want to underestimate its potential. So I don't want that to come across that way. But I sort of let it take control over my life, and I want to live my life and be happy again. So
I love it. Thank you for the message. Thank you for that. Again, I appreciate you sharing that, and yeah, I'll bet you there are folks out there thinking about that, and very much appreciate you being so candid and open about it. If people wanted to get in touch with you or send you messages, what would be the best way for them to contact you?
So probably just on Facebook, Sarah Lawrence. My email is Sarah Lawrence, so my first and last name, and then rdh@gmail. So Sarah Lawrence rdh@gmail, or they can find me in the COVID-19 dental discussion group. So
awesome, and it's okay if they come with you.
Yeah, cool, absolutely.
Cool. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for sharing everything and kind of the perspective and the advice that you've given. Folks, those of you who are going to see this, if you have any questions, please reach out to Sarah. There's an incredible strength and courage that she possesses, and congratulations on everything that you're doing, the fact that you are doing, which is fantastic. If you like this, please share it. If you have any questions for Sarah, reach out to her. If you have questions for us or want us to cover other things, please let us know. Sarah, have a wonderful rest of your week. Have a wonderful, it's almost spring. Isn't that crazy? And if months from now, would you be willing to come join us so you can share what other adventures?
I'm always, Rolando, you have been a light in my life.
Oh my goodness.
No, you honestly have. Like, you bring so much light to my life, and I love our conversations. I love the wisdom that you offer, and you're positive. You just radiate positivity. So I'm always up to have conversation with you. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. You're absolutely wonderful. Same, likewise. So, hey, have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great, safe weekend, and I'm sure we'll talk again.
Okay, bye.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.